Hello and welcome to the section where I sort of show you a few things that I've done in my model from the actual in-game and from the scene, because from the presentation, if you're reading on the PowerPoint, a lot of things weren't implemented due to time constraints, and what I'm going to do in this video is essentially just show you what I have done in the game and also what I've done, which is scrapped models and stuff that hasn't really been used due to time constraints. So as we can see here, there's a massive level which is called the Way to Armadillo, and basically it's just this ball which is sort of created as an armadillo which goes from point A to point B. Originally it was going to be a forest section from the start and the end, and in the middle there was this sort of town scene, so it's just showing like a nice environment which complements the gameplay. But unfortunately, as mentioned, due to time constraints, I was unable to do this, and we sort of all agreed that we wanted a finished game for the so we can submit it for the games jam. So he sort of ignored that, and because that I was unable to sort of implement my town assets that I've made. I was unable to do that. So what I did instead was make my own scene. So let's do the game first. So straight from the get-go, I made these sort of little hedges right here, which were like here. The reason why I put them in the ground a little bit is just so it has its more natural feeling towards it, just like that. I also have a bin, some rocks just around here, and I also made grouped rocks. I made singular rocks in different sizes, shapes and forms, and so on and so forth. I also made this sign right here. I made on top of this I also made a bunch of bushes, grouped bushes, small bushes, and different coloured berry bushes, not brushes. And I also made this house as well. I made a very low poly, very basic, just so I don't have to put it into substance, and as it's low poly based, it doesn't really need the texture, it just needs the solid colour. So I just added solid colours all around, and since you're not really going to be focusing on this, and in the gameplay that you hopefully saw, you don't actually really look at the houses that much, you're more focusing on how to get the ball to a different area. And I also implemented a lot of cars. So this is one of the supercar variants, and over this one is a one which has fallen over. So if we can see in the back from the backdrop, to make the game more of a closed environment, so you don't actually just see a background just like this, or the skylight, or the skybox, sorry, I also made all of these mountains in different variants, such as like at the top it has a bit of a snowy area, and around this part it's a bit, just a basic stone mountain, and different colours such as like green, brown, grey, and just different colours like that, and some with like cracks inside, which has these like little effects where it's just like either brown or white. And I also implemented some of these trees, these different berry trees, these mushrooms, and a cardboard box. So like in this part, you can either go onto this bounce pad, so to jump on this bounce pad, which gives you an option to go across this area. But if you don't, and you like gain too much momentum, which falls down here, you also get greeted with this part where all these like things start to fall down after you touch it. Another thing which is pretty cool is like these mushrooms are the ones that I made. The person who made it, who actually mainly made the in-game, is Adam, and he enlarged the mushrooms so it can act like a bounce pad, which is a really good idea. And just things like this, low models. So this is a bin with the lid on top. This is another signpost. These are like different cars, as you can tell. So this is a red, this is a white, and this is another sports car. And I sort of changed it to like vans, sports cars, and casual cars. But with the sports cars and casual cars, there's like different variants as well, which is good. And I also gave different variants for like the houses, such as a small house, or like a cottage, or like a 2-story house. And if we just continue going in, this is like a very small sort of rock. The reason why we implemented this is because in the gameplay, sometimes if you gain too much momentum, you like fly in the air. And we made it so if it actually goes a bit more in the air, you can actually get blocked by this and you don't fall straight over, because when we go through this, there's a little camera which makes you go through the area like that, bouncing it back into a normal perspective, because when you play the game, it's mainly like this as you saw the gameplay. So we added this just to sort of ignore that. As we continue in, as you can see, a lot of the models are just sort of in the back to just make the environment a lot more nicer. But one thing that you didn't see is the main focus on the town entrance, and as I mentioned, they were scrapped, which we'll show you very shortly. And also there's like a nice little area for the cabin and a little walk down. Good detail to the assets, thanks to Adam, and a lot of my trees. And one of the things that we did instead is over here, if we go all the way over here, there's a lot of pine trees, which I didn't make. Adam Ross made it, the other Adam. So we made it so there's a lot here, and then when we go through the level, it sort of changes into these berry bushes. So as we come over here, the bushes change to like these different variant types, and then these ones. And we had to copy and paste a lot of them just so it has like a more of a busy sort of in-your-face feeling, a nice environment, than just a couple of trees which just don't really feel like they should be there. Other than that, from the game, the in-game which has been implemented, and as you can see, let's go into the actual scene. So as you can see in the scene, I made a very top-down area, so with the mountains in the background just dropping it, and then these like stone mountains which are shown, which are like a lot more smaller than the bigger mountains. And there's like these tents, these different variant of tents. So there's one which is half open, one which has like an open with like the sticks down, so the front, the hood is actually like a bit more extended, and just a fully open tent. Same with all the trees with the different variants. So like there's a blueberry tree, a greenberry tree, and a redberry tree, with different variants of trees as well over here, with like the two little twigs sticking out, the circular one, and then what I would call the Mickey Mouse tree. And also I got a lot of foliage here, such as like, you know, the rocks which I mentioned here, the berry trees, the berry bushes, sorry. So there's like the small ones, the medium ones, and then the large ones and grouped ones. And then we have like sort of certain hedges in the background which you can like sort of tessellate and, you know, manipulate into one massive one. And then we also have these leaves, these mushrooms. This is the one which this one right here. Let's just press F. This one right here is the one which was made into a bigger one, which Adam has made into, I think. And then all these like different rocks, as I mentioned earlier. This is a little sleeping bag here, along with the cabin, which was in the other game. And yeah, these are all like the town assets. So these were originally like shops. So if we bring this one out a little bit, there's a little area here, a little open area, a massive window. And I added like different variants. So like there's two windows in this one and the doors in the middle. This is one tiny corner one. And this is just has a massive window, pretty much the same as this one, but on the other side. And then we have like different houses, different size houses, and then we have like different cars, such as like the vans, the sports car variant. I think that's variant 2, and then that's a sports car variant 1 with different colors, with the hood, and you know the standard like classic sports car. And then we have like the casual cars, such as that, with like a different area, a different style. On top of this, I also made extra things, and as you can tell, some of them were in the final project, such as the cardboard, the bins, but which were the things which haven't been implemented are the certain things such as the roads for the town area, you know, for the foundation of the area, a ticket toll booth, which it is pretty good. I'm pretty good that we weren't unable to implement it, but in a future project, I could easily implement it, because I didn't take a lot of time on making this, but I like how complete it looks in a low poly style, with like the doors coming off, the little different color variation, the stop sign here, and then the extended arm which closes or opens, which I really like as well. Same with everything else. On top of this, I made this little model bigger. I made it into a different universal sign that you could use. So for example, you could just put a decal which says stop or go, or like no crossing, and so on and so forth. On top of this, as mentioned in the PowerPoint, I also added a different model which I used for my other game proposal project called Experiment. In Experiment, it's a game where it's like a Portal inspired sort of game, and I wasn't able to actually implement it as I was focusing more into level design. And as I've mainly focused in modeling, I thought it would be great to actually implement this into this scene because it's mainly focused about models, such as just like tables, science tables, bottles, PC cases. Have a little look around like that, and just a basic table as well. So science tables with an open end, science table with no open ends, and then there's just a completely normal table. And this is a little keyboard that I made as well with all the buttons, different styles, as you can see. It's pretty cool. It took me quite a little bit of time, but through the whole year of me learning different things, sort of doing quick models for my main game, which is Static, the horror game, I've sort of been able to improve on my modeling a little bit and my level design and everything as a whole. But yeah, that's pretty much my creation for the game, The Way to Armadillo, what I sort of contributed to it. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for viewing the PowerPoint, and hopefully you have a great day.